only hope. And the way to deal
Who's
with
at the
it
bottom
is
right? Who's the guy in the bottom right who just?
That's Cedric Richmond.
That's
That's what
Cedric
I
Richmond.
thought. Oh my God, he looks the most bored of all of them.
He doesn't say anything. He's just there to cover.
I think he's chief of staff, right? Or something.
Yeah,
No, he's the liaison to the to corporations and the Sunrise Movement.
In climate, yeah.
He's called, what is it, like strategic engagement or something?
Well, he's an advisor. So throughout this call, it comes up several times. It's emphasized that Cedric is incredibly important and that he's one of the 6 advisors. There can only be 6, Biden says. There can only be 6, and Cedric is one of them. He's always going to be in the room. He's in the room. He's always in the room. And what became clear to me after watching this is that the reason that they're so defensive about Cedric and the reason that they're kind of putting him out there is that he is the one to watch. He's a player. It is not incidental. He's not just somebody's liaison. He's being put out there as cover for Biden's black hires. Like every time anybody raised an objection, he's like, Cedric's going to always be in the room. Cedric's here. What are you complaining about? Cedric represents the interests of all Black America. And if Biden's going to hold him out like that and put him in that position and pretend like he is that representative, then all of our critiques of him that we've had so far that are largely centered around his bad environmental record in his district need to be like 1,000-fold.
Something else that he's using Cedric Richmond for is his conservative outreach. So he's creating this special position for conservative outreach, and Cedric Richmond's heading it up. It's a Bloomberg article, December 7th, about that.
Oh,
wow!
So conservative.
Yes, I know where you're going with this, and yes, yeah. So basically, in a room where he's telling Black people he can't do anything for him, the Black guy in the bottom right has been hired to. Hold on. In fact, let me see. Am I allowed to share?
He's so good at this stuff.
Yes. So if you look at this, Biden administration will create position to reach conservatives. Cedric Richmond, a Louisiana congressman, will lead the effort. Richmond wants to connect with, quote, people who didn't vote for us, end quote. And then he goes on to say, the Biden administration plans to create a position to find common ground with conservatives, said Louisiana Congressman Cedric Richmond, senior advisor and director of the Office of Public Engagement for the president-elect. Right now, I'm trying to set up the office, and I'm actually looking at establishing a position that reaches out to conservatives because it's about moving forward. We cannot stay where we are, Richmond said. He said the office's goal was to forge connections with all Americans, regardless of their political affiliation. Quote, we're not elected just to help Democrats or urban cities or minorities, he said. We were elected to help this entire country, and that means reaching out to conservatives. That means reaching out to rural areas, reaching out to people who didn't vote for us. And, that's the gist of the rest of the article.
Two things. First of all, you pick a Black guy to do this? What kind of sense is that?
So he's a shield on 2 fronts. Yeah.
Yeah. Why would you pick a Black guy to reach out to conservatives at all? That doesn't make sense. Second of all, like, you were also elected to help the people who elected you too. So why would you have the Office of Public Outreach should be the Office of Outreach to the public, not the conservative public who didn't vote for you?
Yeah, I think when you couple that with what he was saying to the Black people who supported him, I think it's like a double insult.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I thought there was a candidate who only cared about the white working class, but I didn't think that was Joe Biden. I was told it was someone else.
But can you imagine if Bernie, like which is what you were getting at? I'm basically just making your point. But yeah, I'm just making it explicit, I guess, instead of sarcastic. Like, can you imagine Bernie had that position in his thing? You would have not have stopped hearing about it. Bernie had a white conservative non-voter non-democratic voter outreach, like
headed by
and then he put Killer Mike. Yes, Killer Mike.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, basically, the implication of what they're saying is Trump voter, white conservative voter who didn't vote for Democrats. I mean, I think they're even kind of soft selling it. He's basically there to win over Trump voters.
But I don't. It's like win over the. Isn't it win over the suburban? It's just more of the same. It's win over the people who Chuck Schumer and Ed Rendell talked about, right? Like we'll lose some working class people, but we'll pick up some suburban moderates. Yeah. Because like if you're this type of, bigoted Trump supporter that Sanders is accused of like inviting in and like throwing people under the bus in order to make room for whatever. Like you're not going to be moved by Cedric Richmond.
Right.
I'm just like following the narrative thread, right? This is like outreach to isn't this just this is just financial?
What the article said was
CEOs,
that
right.
Cedric Richmond was going to create the position. So it seems like maybe what they're doing is Cedric Richmond won't be doing the actual outreach. He's gonna maybe hire someone who I assume will be white, but he gets blamed for coming up with the idea of reaching out to conservatives.
Yeah, so they can't say it's racist because the black guy's in charge of the program.
Yeah.
Just a realist. I get
He
it.
runs the Office of Public Engagement.
I see, and that's why they have to give it that ridiculous name. I see. Okay, and
What he said in the article is that he's
Kinda
going
brilliant.
to create the position, not be the position himself.
oh my god, he's like a job creator.
Yeah.
And the
Basically.
job.
I think the corporate Dems have realized before leftists have that the realignment is not going to include us. They're not even trying to pretend that they have any interest in us. Somebody, was it Biden or a Biden surrogate, was on TV this week talking about how you don't really owe the progressives anything because they didn't come out and vote for you anyway. 30 to 40% of Democrats apparently just didn't vote for Joe Biden, and therefore he doesn't have to make concessions to the progressives. I mean, they're saying the quiet part loud.
Yeah.
And so now they're going around the country trying to collect all of these kinds of people, Midwestern white moms and Southern white gentlemen and whoever this cohort is supposed to be, that's going to substitute in for the fact that we're going to be minority white European, and the Democrats are going to have to come up with something else because God forbid they actually do something for the black and brown people who actually have been getting them elected for the last 50 years.
Yep.
It's so sordid. Wow. No wonder everyone was kind of being like, because there's this phenomenon where like no one wants to admit that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So everyone's like, oh, Cedric Richmond, the office of like, It's like, now this makes sense to me. It's like, oh, he's creating a new thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the thing that like no one's saying, because they can't be like, there's a black guy creating an office that's going to be about reaching white conservatives.
Yeah. So his actual quote was, right now I'm trying to set up the office and I'm actually looking at establishing a position that reaches out to conservatives because it's about moving forward. So reaching out to conservatives is moving forward. All this time I thought that was supposed to be that this was to represent the past or being regressive, but nope, that's moving forward.
About surveying a group of people to maybe help us create a potential position that will market ideas we're thinking of making, possibly, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, that are not good for most people.
Except CEOs, the CEOs at the business.
CEO class.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, don't invisibilize them. Holy shit, that's like so much worse than wow. You guys, you need to write up a job description so people get what this is. You have to write up the job description either for like him, that would be the meta thing, right? Like looking for a person to create job to,
Yeah, you know what? If there's like internal government listings, if there's somebody wants to leak the
seriously.
The listings, send it to us. I would love to see what the internal listings. They could do an internal hire, like do you like that?
They post all those. They post all those publicly, actually, so we will be able to look up.
Oh my god, let's do it! Yeah. Then
do you
leak it to
NASCAR?
Right? Do you like NASCAR? Yeah.
Go ahead.
And then leak it. No, not even that. I mean, I guess so. Right. NASCAR and Wall Street, or one of the two.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we gotta leak it to Ryan. What's her the journalist, April Ryan.
Oh.
April Ryan.
Oh yeah.
April Ryan Grimm. I like that as one. Yeah.